welcome back to my channel. Happy summer solstice. I am Jill Baird, and today I have a fun summer solstice yoga flow. So in case you didn't catch it, the summer solstice was this week, and the summer solstice is the longest day of the year. It's also the official start of summer, and it's a perfect time to check in with yourself. Although we're not a full halfway through the year, the start of a new season is always a good time to check in with yourself, see how you're doing, maybe set some goals, check on progress towards any goals you might have set. And any time is always a good time for an energizing, feel-good yoga flow. So for this class, you don't need any equipment. I do have 2 blocks. You don't need blocks, but if you have them, grab them. And then make sure that you have enough space around your mat where you can reach off to the side, reach a leg up and back. And if you like to play music during your classes, please go ahead and get your music started. Otherwise, let's use our breath as our music to guide us through our practice. And it looks like I'm joined by both dogs today. So this is Charlie and this is Fiona. Hopefully they stay off of the mat, but you never know. So for today's class, we're actually going to start standing at the top of the mat in mountain pose. And why don't we start with our feet hip-width distance apart. And just go ahead and rock back and forth on your feet. Maybe bend your knees, wiggle from side to side. And then close your eyes, bring your arms down by your side, and just take a breath. A breath of gratitude for yourself for showing up on your mat today. A breath of gratitude for yourself for recognizing the importance of turning off the world around you for a few minutes in your day so that you can completely connect to yourself and then step off of this mat the best version of yourself that you can be. Go ahead and bring your palms to heart center. Relax your shoulders down your back, away from your ears, and take a nice deep inhale through your nose. Imagine that you're drawing that breath in from the bottom of your feet to the crown of your head. And an open mouth exhale, let it go. Drop your shoulders. On your next inhale, give your quadriceps a squeeze. Notice how you become very active in this posture, not just passively standing here. And an open mouth exhale to let go of anything that might be weighing on your mind right now. Doesn't mean it's not going to come back into your mind. Doesn't mean that it's gone forever. It just means that you're giving yourself permission to let go of it for a few minutes. One more deepest, fullest inhale yet. And the loudest, longest open mouth exhale, sigh it out. Go ahead and seal your lips closed. And begin to breathe in that same powerful manner, but with your lips sealed, creating a slight constriction in the back of your throat, which produces an audible sound as you exhale, similar to Darth Vader or ocean waves, depending on what your perspective is. And on your next inhale, go ahead and blink your eyes open. And as you exhale, bring your palms back down by your side. Firm your legs, tuck your tailbone under, and lengthen your waist up and out of your hips. We're going to flow through 3 traditional sun salutation A. Inhale, tall mountain. Bring the fingertips overhead, maybe the palms touch. And exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Hinge at your hips, fingertips to the mat or a block. Crown of the head draws towards the earth. Inhale to a halfway lift, flat back. This is a hinge, similar to a deadlift. Chest lengthens forward, hips and hip creases draw back. Exhale, fold forward, plant your palms on the mat. Step right foot, left foot back to a high plank. Stacking shoulders over wrists, pressing through your heels towards the wall behind you, and firming up your quads and your glutes. Inhale, shift forward onto tippy toes, and from your knees or from your toes for a slow count of 5, exhale to the floor. 3, 2, 1. The entire front body arrives. Untuck the toes and inhale, cobra pose. Loop the shoulders down and back. Chest lifts towards the ceiling, gazes forward. Exhale from your knees or toes, high plank, downward facing dog. first downward facing dog of our practice. Maybe take some pedals of your feet here, bending deeply into one knee as the opposite heel finds the ground, and then switching it out. Finding some stillness here as you press your palms forward and away from you. Lift the backs of your hips to the spot where the wall and the ceiling meet behind you, and shift your gaze back towards your belly button or between your legs. Inhale, look towards your hands, and as you exhale, step your feet behind your hands, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen, really powerful in the legs and core here. Exhale, fold, and inhale, rise, Tadasana, mountain pose, maybe the palms touch. And exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Hinge at your hips, bend in half. Inhale, halfway lift, maybe the fingertips stay on the mat. Exhale, plant your palms, step back, high plank, top of a push-up. Inhale, shift forward onto the toes, and exhale, slowly lower. 5, 4, can always come down to your knees. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, cobra pose. Thighs, shins, tops of the feet on the mat. And exhale back, downward facing dog. Let's do that one more time. Inhale to gaze forward. And exhale, step your feet behind your hands, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, fold, and inhale, root down to rise, Tadasana, mountain pose. And exhale, Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, high plank. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, slowly lower down, all the way to the belly. The entire front side arrives at the same time. Inhale, cobra pose. Hug those elbows in like little cricket wings. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pressing your chest back towards your thighs, taking as deep a bend in those knees as you need to find that release in the low back. All right, we flowed through 3 rounds of our sun salutation A. It's time for 3 rounds of sun salutation B. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step or float, feet behind hands, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Shoulder blades drop back and down towards your back pockets. Exhale, fold, and inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. So exactly as it sounds, sitting back into that imaginary chair. If you'd like to use a block here to really fire up your legs, bring it between your inner thighs. Sit your hips down. Tuck your tailbone towards the mat behind you, and then inhale, reach the fingertips up towards the ceiling. Can you sit a little bit lower? Let's get a little bit shaky. Let's celebrate this body. Let's celebrate the beginning of the summertime. And as we come into summer and these warmer months, maybe we could think about how can we stay cool when the things around us get hot. And I don't just mean temperature-wise. I mean when life fires up, like when I keep talking and talking and talking in chair pose, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, get it over with. Well, what can you do to stay cool when you feel like you're gonna get hot or angry? Maybe breathe. Inhale, exhale, forward fold. Bring the block to the side of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, plank pose. Now this time you can lower all the way down to your belly, or you can join me in a chaturanga. Shift forward, bend the elbows 90 degrees, pin them into the side body, hover the chest off the mat, flip to the tops of the feet. Inhale, upward facing dog. So it's a similar shaped back bend to that cobra, but our thighs are not on the mat. And then exhale from wherever you are, downward facing dog. Inhale, step the right foot between the hands. Exhale, spin the back heel flat. Inhale, rise, warrior one. 90-degree bend in the front knee. Tug the front hip back and down. Heel to heel alignment. So if there was a line down your mat, that right heel would intersect the back left heel. And exhale, windmill the palms. Step the right foot back. High plank. Chaturanga on the exhale. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Spread those collarbones wide, salute the sun. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot steps between the hands. Exhale, back foot spins flat. And inhale, rise, warrior one. Think about squaring the fronts of the hips and the shoulders towards that short front end of the mat. Lift the back hip up and forward. Pull the belly button in, squeeze the buns, fingertips reach towards the ceiling. Exhale, high plank, top of a push-up. Inhale, shift forward, and exhale, chaturanga, or find the ground. Inhale, cobra, or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. All right, we're gonna flow that 2 more times, a little bit quicker. Inhale, gaze forward, and exhale, step your feet behind your hands, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, and inhale into everyone's favorite chair pose. Reaching those fingertips up towards the sun, drawing the shins back. Holding for 3 more breaths because you can. Where can you strengthen? Squeeze your glutes. And where can you soften? Relax your neck, relax your shoulders. Inhale, smile. Exhale, sit a little lower. Inhale, reach towards the ceiling. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, chaturanga or the mat. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra, your back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot steps through. Exhale, back heel flat. Inhale, rise, warrior one. Exhale, palms to the mat, chaturanga. Inhale, back bend, which is cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot steps between the hand. Exhale, right foot falls flat. Inhale, rise, warrior one. And exhale, chaturanga, or lower to the mat. Inhale, upward facing dog, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. All right, we have that 1 more time. Take a deep bend in your knees. Lengthen the entire body from the tips of the fingers to the hips. And then keep that length as you straighten into the legs. If you notice a tug in your low back, keep the knees bent. If not, see if you can work the heels towards the floor. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, forward fold, feet behind hands at the top of the mat. Inhale, chair pose, sit low. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot steps between the hand. Exhale, back foot flat. Inhale, warrior one. Exhale, chaturanga. Remember, you can always take these from your knees. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot steps through. Exhale, back foot spins flat. And the inhale takes us up to warrior one. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. All right, are you keeping cool? Are you using that breath? Have you stayed connected to the breath? Let's all reconnect just in case. Deep inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale as you bring your ears and biceps in line. Another inhale. Open mouth, exhale as you bend the knees and lengthen the side body. Inhale, lift the backs of the hips. Open mouth, exhale as the heels come a little closer towards the earth. Seal the lips closed and we're gonna flow one more standing sequence. Ground your left foot, and on an inhale, lift your right leg straight back out of that right hip. Bend the knee, stack the right hip on top of the left, give a press into the right hand to keep your shoulders squared, and then draw some circles with the right ankle, the right hip, or the right knee. Inhale back to three-legged dog. Exhale, right knee, right tricep. Inhale, three-legged dog, right leg up and back. Exhale, knee to nose, tighter pose. Draw the knee towards the forehead, use the abs. Inhale, right leg lifts. And exhale, right knee, left tricep. Fall in triangle, come to the blade of the pinky edge of the left foot and the inner arch of the right foot. Lift your hips, open your chest towards the ceiling. And exhale, left palm to the mat, right leg lifts. Exhale, step the right foot forward. And inhale, come up, crescent lunge. So feet hip-width distance apart. Right hip pulls back and down, left hip up and forward. Knit those front ribs in towards one another, and exhale, open it up, warrior two. Heel to arch alignment, active in the inner thighs by isometrically pulling the feet towards one another. Sit a little lower, flip the palm, inhale, peaceful warrior. Exhale, extended side angle. A big inhale up to star pose, because the sun is, after all, a giant star. And exhale, pull some of that light down to your heart as you sit down into horse pose or goddess pose. So, cactus the arms, palms face each other. Hug the shoulder blades in, broaden through the chest. Tuck your tailbone under and press into the pinky edge of each foot. And then inhale back up to star. Turn the toes in, heels out, hinge at the hips. Prasarita Padottanasana, folding into that wide-legged forward fold. And again, just like in our downward facing dog and our forward fold, lifting the backs of those hips, the backs of those buns, up towards the spot where the wall and the ceiling meet behind you. If it feels good, you can bend your elbows and bring the crown of your head closer to the mat. Staying nice and active through the inner thighs, almost imagining that you're hugging a big beach ball between your inner thighs. And then inhale, come up to a halfway lift, flat back. And on an exhale, we're going to do a little gentle lateral lunge flow here before we come into Skandasana at the back of our mat. So let's just flow gently side to side a couple of times, using the glutes to bring you back. And then settling down into that Skandasana. So your hands can be on the mat. Maybe you can't come down very far, that's fine. Bring your hands to heart center. Or if you can sit down, come onto that right heel and sit low into the left side. Take a couple of breaths here, just feeling that opening on the inner right thigh. And we're going to flow to the back of the mat. We're going to bring both hands to frame the left foot. And we're going to peel open into a simple twist. So the left hip draws up and back, and the right hip draws forward. Gaze is up towards the ceiling, chest peels up towards the ceiling. And then bring the left hand down, step the left foot back. We're going to flow through a vinyasa at the back of the mat. Inhale, upward facing dog. Open that chest, heart towards the sun. And exhale, downward facing dog. All right, we're going to flow that on the left side before we come into our finishing poses. Ground the right leg. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, left knee, left tricep. Can you touch up towards the shoulder? Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, knee to nose, tighter pose. Press the mat away. Hollow your belly. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, left knee, right tricep. This time we're going to come into that fallen star, coming onto the pinky edge of the left foot and the inner arch of the right foot. Lifting the hips up towards the ceiling, reaching those right fingertips back. And then coming back into three-legged dog. Stacking that left hip over the right as you open up. So doing your best to give a press into that left hand, keep your shoulders squared. Turn some circles with the left toes, the left ankle, the left knee, hip. Coming back to three-legged dog. And then exhale, step the left foot between the hands. And inhale, rise, crescent lunge. Tuck the tailbone under. Hug the glutes. Pull the left toes back, or the left heel back, and the right toes forward. On an exhale, open it up. Warrior two. Sorry, you guys are getting my back side again. And then inhale, open it up. I'm going to face you. Star pose. And then exhale, pull some of that warmth down into that goddess pose. So in this goddess pose, see if you can sink a little lower. We want these inner knees pressing back, not caving in. And then maybe you can lift left heel, lift right heel. Bring them both down. Sit a little lower. Lift both heels. Inhale, come back up to that star pose. Pivot on the heels so that the heels are out and the toes are in. Hinge at your hips, coming into that wide-legged forward fold. We're going to keep the weight on our entire feet, but we're going to shift it forward towards the toes, towards the ball mount of the foot. Micro bend in the knees, squeeze the inner thighs, and then you can either hang out in this elevated, wide-legged forward fold, or you can come all the way down into that wide-legged forward fold. And then on an inhale, come back up to that halfway lift, and we're going to take that side to side, side lunge, side lunge. And now I am going to turn back to face the side that I was facing. And this time we're going to come into that skandasana at the front of the mat towards the right foot. So the palms can come down to the mat, they can come to heart center, and you can pivot onto the left heel. So we're opening up the inner left thigh. We're opening up that right thigh. Taking some breaths. Remember, finding your cool. Thinking about how strong you are. How you showed up on your mat today. And then we're going to bring the hands to frame the right foot. Pivot back towards the front of the mat. Plant the left palm. Peel the right hand open towards the ceiling as you guide the right hip back and the left hip up and forward. And then bring the right hand to the mat, coming back into that high plank, and then Vinyasa. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra, and exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, pigeon. So bringing the right knee behind the right wrist, extending that left leg long behind you, and then coming up to make sure that the hips and the shoulders are facing forward. So what happens a lot of the time is we get this image in our mind that this front shin needs to be parallel to the mat. But if your body isn't ready for that front shin to be parallel to the mat, you're actually going to do more harm than good if you force it. So what we want to bring our focus on is our hips and our shoulders facing forward. Go ahead and bring your fingertips back to the mat. Take a peek over that right shoulder. And notice how that bumps the right hip back a little bit and the left hip forward. Make sure that that left leg is in a nice straight line. And on an exhale, slowly come down into your sleeping pigeon. Being mindful that you're keeping this space between the right hip and the mat, that we're not falling down on that side, and that we're keeping an equal space between the left hip and the mat. Lengthen your chest forward, draw your tailbone back, and connect in with your breath. And in these hip opening postures, a lot of the time is where the mind starts to wander. It becomes really difficult to stay present. These are our fight or flight muscles, and for a lot of us, they're very tight. And so it makes sense. So what we need to do is honor our body. And how do we do that? Well, we check in with our breath. So I noticed that when I forced myself to lay nice and flat, my breath became somewhat short and choppy. And that signals to my mind to tense up. So if I come up onto my elbows a little bit and my forearms, I'm able to slow my breath and control my breath. Inhale for a slow count of 5 and exhale for a slow count of 5. So this is exactly where I need to be today. And yeah, some days I can lay flat, but today that's not where I'm at. So I need to meet myself where I'm at, and I need to be okay with that. Give yourself a little grace. You start practicing grace on the mat, you might be surprised at how the grace transfers off of the mat. Let's stay for 2 more breaths. And not rushed, frenzied breaths. Slow, steady breaths. And then on an inhale, walk up to your palms, tuck the left toes, and inhale, lift the right leg up and back. Bend the knee. You can stay here, or if Wild Thing is in your practice, we're going to bring that right foot over to the left. Keep a bend in the right knee as you come into your back bend, reaching that right arm back behind you. And then pivoting back over into our downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. And exhale, half pigeon on the left. So let's set up again. Checking in to make sure that our hips and shoulders are facing forward. Peeking back over that left shoulder to make sure that that right leg is in a nice straight line. And then surrendering down into that pigeon. And it might be different on this side. This is also a place where you could bring a block underneath your forehead or underneath your forearms. And then staying here, connecting to the breath, staying present, and giving yourself grace. And knowing that your back is an alternative, you can come into a figure 4 on your back if you feel any pain in your knees. If you just feel discomfort or angst or, ooh, just a little like, oh, I don't want to be here, I invite you to focus on the breath. Nice, slow inhales and steady, powerful exhales. And we're going to stay here for 2 more rounds. Breathing into that left hip. Walk the palms back, tuck the right toes, 3-legged dog, peel the hip open, and then coming into Wild Thing if that's in your practice. Lift the fronts of the hips. Chest towards the ceiling. And then coming into our final downward facing dog, noticing how different we feel from the first. Allowing any last tension just to roll off your shoulders. And then walk yourself through to a seat. And we're going to come down slowly using our core onto our back. Hug your knees into your chest. Take any last postures that you might need here, a dead bug, a twist. Or join me as you curl up into a tight, tiny little ball. Take the deepest inhale you've taken yet today. And an open mouth exhale as you surrender into Shavasana. And this is where we'll end our practice. I invite you to stay in Shavasana for as long as you can. Thank you for practicing with me, friends. I'll see you back here soon.